From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Zahra Syed. Our top story for today. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has introduced a bill to reverse the Supreme Court's immunity rulings on former President Donald Trump. This bill would reaffirm the president is not immune to legal accountability and remove the Supreme Court's jurisdiction to hear appeals related to presidential immunity. Last month, the court granted Trump substantial immunity on election subversion charges in connection with the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. The legislation, backed by 34 Democratic co-sponsors, could fail in the Senate as Republicans are unlikely to help the measure pass the 60-vote threshold.
1 month ago, I said I'd work with my colleagues on legislation to reverse the damage of the court's bewildering ruling on immunity. Today, I'm pleased to announce Senate Democrats are taking the next step. Today, along with 33 of my Democratic colleagues, I'm introducing the No Kings Act.
A U.S. watchdog said it has taken action against American companies deceiving users about their use of artificial intelligence in unfair ways. The Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, says it is working to protect American consumers from potential harms related to AI. The Federal Communications Commission launched a notice of inquiry in November to examine efforts to address the impact of AI. The agency aims to protect consumers from unwanted and illegal telephone calls and text messages. In May 2023, the regulator and the Justice Department charged Amazon with violating children's privacy laws by keeping children's Alexa voice recordings forever and undermining deletion requests by parents. The agencies had ordered Amazon to pay $25 million and delete children's data, geolocation data, and other voice recordings. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has accepted Vice President Kamala Harris's challenge for a debate. Trump responded to Harris's claim of having a record superior to his own, saying, "Challenge accepted, let's compare our record point by point." Trump reflected on the decline of major American cities, criticizing San Francisco and Chicago for recent violence and mismanagement. He expressed disbelief at the statistics, including 117 shootings and 17 deaths in Chicago over the July 4th weekend. Trump contrasted this with the situation in Afghanistan, criticizing the current administration's handling of domestic and international issues.
In one of the most astoundingly phony moments in her speech last night, Kamala Harris bragged that, quote, "I will proudly put my record against Donald Trump's any day of the week. I will put it against Donald Trump." This got one of the worst records in anywhere. Well, Kamala, let's go. Challenge accepted. Are you ready? Let's compare our record point by point. I can't believe I'm doing it. You know, the weird thing, 2 weeks ago I was talking about Biden. I didn't even know her name. Nobody did. Kamala, hello.
A judge has approved a settlement in a 2017 lawsuit challenging the detention of Iraqi nationals targeted for deportation during the Trump administration. The settlement with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, imposes strict conditions on future detentions and removals, according to the American Civil Liberties Union. ACLU attorney Miriam Ackerman said the agreement will help immigrants build a life in America. The lawsuit involved about 1,400 individuals, many of whom had been in the United States for years. In 2017, ICE detained many based on old deportation orders after Iraq's stance shifted, leading to prolonged detentions and protests. The ACLU argued that their returning to Iraq posed safety risks. U.S. District Judge Mark Goldsmith's decisions, though reversed in 2018, allowed some individuals to gain release or pursue asylum. Roughly 50 detainees chose to return to Iraq, while most remain in the United States, with removals now being rare. South Carolina's Supreme Court has confirmed that the state can execute death row inmates using a firing squad, lethal injection, or the electric chair. This paves the way for executions to resume after a 13-year hiatus. The ruling, which was delivered Wednesday, supports the state's revised death penalty protocols. These include the newly authorized firing squad option. While the majority of justices agreed with the decision, some raised concerns about the firing squad and electric chair as potentially cruel methods. Governor Henry McMaster welcomed the ruling, emphasizing its role in delivering justice and closure for victims' families. The state has not carried out an execution since 2011 due to expired lethal injection drugs and legal challenges. With 32 inmates currently on death row, the timeline for resuming executions remains uncertain. Lawyers for the death row inmates said they were reviewing the 94-page ruling before commenting. A barrage of missiles targeted northern Israel's western Galilee region on Thursday. It marks the first attack since Israel assassinated top Hezbollah leader Fuad Shukr on Tuesday in Beirut. At least 7 people, including 2 children, were killed in that airstrike, according to Lebanese health authorities. Israel blamed Shukr for a missile attack Saturday that killed 12 people in the Druze town in Masht al-Shams in Israel-occupied Golan Heights, although Hezbollah has denied responsibility. Shukr's assassination was followed by the assassination of Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh in the Iranian capital of Tehran early Wednesday in an attack blamed on Israel. Hezbollah's Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah vowed a real response to the strike that killed Shukr. Fears have grown of a full-blown war between Israel and the Lebanese resistance group amid a months-long exchange of cross-border fire. Thousands gather in Qatar and around the world to honor Ismail Haniyeh. Details come after the break. Stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to This Hijabi Life. Today our guest is Samah, an award-winning Jordanian-American film director and producer.
Contribute to solving the problem is us reclaiming our own narrative, telling our own stories.
Samah is also an advocate for Muslims in Western media, women's empowerment and human justice.
Just to show people these are the Muslim women who are in the world making change every single day. Why we don't have any Islamic entertainment? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who I worship, and I don't care about pleasing other people.
That storytelling is a very powerful tool that can make an impact on people's lives.
Every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Muslim Network TV.
Welcome back. Thousands gathered to pay their final respects to Ismail Haniyeh, former political head of Hamas, at Qatar's largest mosque in the capital Doha. Following the funeral prayers at Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab Mosque, Haniyeh was laid to rest in a cemetery in Lusail, north of the Qatari capital. The service saw attendance from high-profile dignitaries, including Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Turkey's Vice President Şevdet Yılmaz, as well as its Speaker of Parliament, Numan Kurtulmuş. In Turkey, flags have been lowered to half-mast and a day of mourning has been declared by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan as the nation honors Haniyeh's memory. Leaders from Palestinian factions such as Fatah and Islamic Jihad, as well as numerous international representatives, attended the funeral in Doha. Large crowds turned out across various world capitals, from Jakarta to Istanbul to Pakistani cities, to offer symbolic funeral prayers for Haniyeh. President Joe Biden expressed concern that the violence in the Middle East might escalate, noting that assassination has hindered efforts to negotiate a ceasefire deal and return of prisoners from Gaza. In Lebanon, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah declared the war with Israel has entered a new phase after the killings of Shukr and Haniyeh. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel is at a very high level of readiness for any scenario. Iran has initiated an investigation into Haniyeh's assassination, forming a special committee composed of members of the intelligence forces, IRGC, and police. An Israeli airstrike on a school sheltering displaced families killed at least 15 Palestinians. The dead include children who were killed when an Israeli missile hit the Dalal Maghribi school and the Sabha Health Center in Gaza. Wafa news agency reports that earlier, an Israeli airstrike near the Abu Hamid roundabout in Khan Yunis killed 4 Palestinians, including women and children. Israel's military announced that it had targeted and killed Mohammed al-Jabari, a senior figure from the Islamic Jihad movement. However, the group has yet to respond to these claims. Meanwhile, an Australian inquiry has revealed that an Israeli military attack in April on an aid convoy resulted from serious military failures. It killed 7 workers from various countries, including Palestine, Australia, Canada, Poland, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Further reports of misconduct within the Israeli forces have emerged. A former Israeli soldier described acts of looting and destruction by troops in Gaza, highlighting what observers call a lack of discipline in the command structure. British Defense Secretary John Healey has arrived in Israel, seeking to prevent further escalation of hostilities. Israel so far has killed 39,480 Palestinians, including 16,314 children, and injured 91,128 others in 300 days. Some experts noted last month in the British medical journal The Lancet that the death toll could be as high as 186,000 in Gaza. Israel stands accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice, which ordered it to immediately halt its military operations in the southern city of Rafah. The U.S., Israel, and UAE are spearheading efforts to establish a new Palestinian governing body for Gaza's post-war future. Sources reveal this national committee would feature Palestinian leaders and business figures, but would predominantly align with Mohammed Dahlan, an exiled Fatah leader and potential successor to President Mahmoud Abbas. International and regional actors, including Egypt and Jordan, are pressing Abbas to endorse this plan. Qatar, a mediator in ceasefire talks, may also play a role, though its participation remains uncertain. Dahlan, currently based in the UAE, previously involved in Gaza's security, could be a central figure in this new governance structure. The multimillionaire living in exile in UAE has previously worked as a security advisor to the Palestine Authority in Gaza in 2007. In a sweeping move, Bangladesh has banned the opposition party Jamaat-E-Islami and its student wing, Islami Chatra Shibir, under anti-terrorism laws. The ban, effective immediately, was announced by the Home Ministry and has sparked strong criticism from Jamaat-E-Islami. The party denounced the action as unconstitutional and a diversion from ongoing student protests, which have resulted in significant casualties. The protests, ignited by a controversial job quota system, have led to more than 266 deaths, according to local sources. In response, the government has arrested more than 10,700 people in recent weeks, including many from opposition parties. The Supreme Court previously barred Jamaat-E-Islami from participating in elections. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina now labels the party and its student wing as militant organizations. The Indian government has awarded land ownership rights to Hindu refugees who fled from Pakistan in 1947 in the Muslim-dominated region of Jammu and Kashmir. The refugees included those displaced during the 1965 and 1971 India-Pakistan wars as well. The decision, approved by the Administrative Council under Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, marks a significant milestone for more than 22,000 refugee families living in and around Jammu City. Previously, these refugees faced restrictions, including limited voting rights and ineligibility to own properties in Jammu and Kashmir. Since India annexed the region in August 2019 and divided the state into 2 centrally administered territories, it has paved the way to allow any Indian citizen to purchase land and settle in the region. Now these families enjoy the same rights as local residents, fulfilling long-standing demands of Hindu nationalists to allow land ownership and equality in the Muslim-dominated region. Analysts say the move has serious repercussions of changing the religious demography of the region, something that has long been the goal of India's Hindu nationalists. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has called for a review of rules concerning athletes with male genetic characteristics competing in women's sports. Meloni's remarks came after Italian boxer Angela Carini withdrew from her Olympics match in Paris following a defeat by Algerian opponent Iman Khalif, who previously faced gender eligibility issues. Carini's bout with Khalif ended abruptly just 46 seconds in, with Carini visibly shaken, withdrawing from the welterweight round of 16. Khalif, despite past controversies, was permitted by the International Olympic Committee to compete. After the match, Karini expressed her disappointment, saying, "I didn't lose tonight. I just surrendered with maturity." That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. Your support is needed more than ever to continue our mission of providing informative, educational, and inspiring content to Muslims in North America and around the world. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum.